At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Optimal Living Daily, The Power of Projection by Kerri Richardson of kerririchardson.com. And I'm Justin Malik, your host and narrator. We're going to get right to it as we optimize your life. The Power of Projection by Kerri Richardson of kerririchardson.com. How often do you make up stories in your head about what others are thinking of you, about what they might think of your decisions, hopes, and dreams? And how often do you let that stop you from making moves in your life? It's time to address the most common fears that stop us from playing bigger in the world: judgment and criticism, and to use the power of projection to cut these off at the pass. I love projection like I love procrastination and clutter. No, I'm not a masochist. I just see how much we can learn about ourselves through these seemingly frustrating behaviors. Whatever you feel others might think is likely what you already think of yourself. And therein lies your power. You can't change what others think or say, but you can work on loving that part of you who says you're too dumb or too young or too old or too fat. That sweet, young part of you who is scared of change, any kind of change, even change for the better. She's so scared that she'll say awful things to you to sabotage you. The more you can hold space for your fear and remind her that she is more than enough, when you can show her you truly believe in her by taking risks and making space in your life for your dreams, the less you'll care about others' opinions. And the less you care about others' opinions, the less frightened she'll be. And the less frightened she is, the less often she'll talk and convince you to stay small, because she now knows you'll take care of her as you step out and shine. When I first started my business 15 years ago, this was something I had to regularly get in check. Who would hire someone so young to help them redesign their lives? How can I, a young woman at 30, provide value to this older, established, successful businessman? How can I sound older on the phone? To build up my confidence, I'd give myself pep talks before getting on the phone. I'd remind myself of past successes, of my inherent ability to cut through the noise and get to the heart of the matter, of the quality of the coach training I'd received. Then I'd get on the phone, fear and all, and focus on connecting wholeheartedly with my client. And 9 times out of 10, the session was a resounding success. That 10th time, I was too caught up in my need to provide value, so I'd end up being more focused on myself than my client. The pep talks, plus the courageous acts of getting on the phone despite my fear, helped me believe in my abilities even more, and yes, to handle the inevitable question, how can someone your age help me? Sometimes I'd navigate it with a little humor. What can I say? I'm an old soul. I still and likely always will deal with some fear of criticism, but today, being confident in my abilities, I take a different approach. When I struggle with this, I pull out that powerful Theodore Roosevelt quote that Brené Brown recently made well known again. Quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." End quote. This quote reminds me that I'm not interested in the opinions of those in the cheap seats, as Brené calls them, those in the stands casting judgment but who never put themselves out there. It also brings me to a place of compassion for those who are too scared to take risks or make the moves necessary to create the life they dream of. That's when I go to my other saving grace, which is my mantra of, she's not an asshole, she's just wounded. When I find myself getting caught up in the tales I'm telling myself, another tool I reach for is the work by Byron. When wrestling with a thought or story, she suggests asking yourself 4 questions to put it to inquiry. Question 1, is it, the thought or story, true? Question 2, can you absolutely know it's true? Question 3, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? And question 4, who would you be without the thought? That 4th question is the doozy, in my opinion. If you were to clear out that thought clutter, eliminate that story you're telling yourself, who would you be? What would you be free to do? What would you be less afraid to try? Identifying what you now be able to do is key to understanding why you might hang on to the fear of what others might think. If you're afraid of putting yourself out there, hanging on to this story clutter is a great excuse for not doing it. What will people think? What will they say about me? Giving in to those fears will overshadow your life at every turn. But when you realize that what really needs your attention is your confidence and your belief in yourself, that's when you reclaim your power. Projection, procrastination, perfectionism, it's all clutter which, when looked at inquisitively, can teach you about the root of your self-sabotage so you can then heal it at the source. So the next time you find yourself fearing what others think, stop and ask yourself, is this in fact what I think of myself? Or might I be using this fear to stay small because I'm scared to play big? Dig below the surface, and I bet you'll be surprised with what you find. You just listened to the post titled, "The Power of Projection" by Kerri Richardson of kerririchardson.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Thank you to Kerri. Something to think about in there that I thought was a great point. She said, what we're worried others are thinking about us is usually what we're already thinking about ourselves. We're just putting our own inner critic's voice into the mouths of other people. It really makes me think about this podcast and specifically my voice. You know, when I first started, and for a long time really, I was always a bit insecure about it. I never particularly liked the sound of my own voice. And I think my projection, my fear, was that people listening would think it was boring or maybe not energetic enough, just not the right kind of voice for a podcast. I've definitely seen reviews saying I'm monotone. Unfortunately, psychologically, it's easier to remember the more negative ones. But certainly, I've heard from others that my voice is soothing or calming, which is something I never, ever would have guessed. It's a good example of what Kerri's talking about as a projection of my own self-doubt. So I think her question is a great one to ask ourselves today. When we're worried about what they will think, it's worth stopping to ask, wait, is this just what I think? Hopefully that helps. That should do it for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.